Sure. It'll be $1,000, please. No, but I can teach you how to knit so you can make one for yourself. I'm Becca and I've been knitting for 25 years. I have sold a few of the things that I've knitted in the past, but over the last few years I decided to set a boundary for myself that I wouldn't do that anymore, and I definitely would not take on custom commission projects. When people ask me why, the answer I give them varies depending on how interested I think they actually are, but there are a lot of reasons, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't you trying to make money? Yes, I am. I'm so glad you asked. When I first set out to start a knitting related business, I actually was afraid that it would make me enjoy knitting less. And setting the boundary around not selling the things that I make has allowed me to keep the joy in knitting. So when I sit down to knit, it's just for me. Even if I'm knitting for someone else, it's because I want to, not because I have to make money. There's no sort of deadline. There's not some stranger on the internet that's waiting for me to make it just the way that they want me to. I can knit the way I want to knit at my own pace and whenever I feel like it. And that's a beautiful thing. Probably the most obvious problem with selling things that I make is that in order to make a decent hourly rate, I don't think anyone would be able to afford it. And that probably sounds a little bit arrogant, but I'm going to break it down for you. Take this channel cardigan, for example. If we're just talking about yarn, the yarn alone cost, let me check here, $123.81. That's just for the yarn. Now, most people would raise an eyebrow at paying that much for a sweater in the store, but they might, you might, especially if you know it's hand knit. But then let's talk about how long it took. I've never tracked how many hours I actually spend knitting any particular project. That's another thing that in order for me to do that, it would make me hate it a little bit because I would have to watch the clock, and sometimes I knit a little bit and then I'm watching a movie and I look up and I'm like, or the kids talk to me and I get interrupted, or this took me about 5 months to knit, and I didn't work on it every day. Some days I spent a long time on it, some days I only had a little bit of time. So let's just say it was an average of a half hour a day. It's probably a low estimate, but bear with me. So for 150 days, at an average of half an hour per day, times $20 an hour, which is, again, kind of a low number for the amount of experience that I feel like I have, but that's what I charge for private one-on-one knitting lessons. So $20 an hour, that's $1,500 just for the labor. So if you add in the price of the yarn, $1,623.81. And like I said, that is kind of lowballing myself. So let's round it up and just say, you can have this, but it'll cost you $2,000. And I honestly, I would not feel good about charging someone that much, even though it's totally worth it. And then there's a matter of, if someone's paying me $2,000 for a hand knit sweater, it better be perfect. And then there's all this pressure and stress, and it's not fun, and I hate it. A remedy for that would be to make more faster, smaller things. That's why a lot of people that do sell hand knit items are selling a lot of chunky beanies or big bulky scarves or different things like that, because they're more quickly produced. And I think that's fantastic. A lot of these are really cute, they're good quality, and these makers deserve every penny they get, and I guarantee you they're probably not even charging enough. I'm the kind of person who loves variety. Variety is the spice of life. I almost never knit the same pattern twice. So the idea of knitting the same thing over and over and over again is just not my cup of tea. Another reason is I do not enjoy rushing to meet deadlines. Yes, sometimes in life they are necessary, but when it's not necessary, I like to just take my time, I amble through life, I knit slowly, and I enjoy every stitch. But having a deadline kills that joy. I learned this one the hard way. Many, many years ago, when I was still a full-time hairstylist, a friend told me that her mom was knitting something and she was having a hard time with it because there was some sort of a mistake in the pattern and she couldn't figure out what she was supposed to be doing. So she asked if she could mail it to me and have me finish it for her and then mail it back for her in time to give to this other person for Christmas. And I can remember getting home from work and being so tired and wanting to just kind of do nothing and thinking, I have to finish this. I have to finish it because she needs it by X day to be able to get it to the other person by Christmas. And it really took the wind out of my sails. That was kind of the end of that. Another thing I heard from someone else that's always stuck with me is, again, when I was doing hair, one of my clients was talking to me about how her husband was getting really into photography and he was trying to start a photography business. And over the next few appointments, we would talk about, you know, life and how all that was going. And one day she said, you know, he's not really enjoying himself anymore. He thought that since he loved photography, that it would be really fun to be a photographer, but turning it into a business has made it not fun. And his hobby is now his job, and it feels like work rather than something enjoyable. That's always stuck with me because I never want knitting to feel like that. I love knitting. I love it. I've loved it since I was 12 years old. And to think about the possibility that it could one day feel like a job, that really scared me. And so when I set out to do this, that's when I set the boundary that the things that I knit will be knit because I want to knit them, not because I need to sell them. Not everything you enjoy in life needs to be turned into a money-making enterprise. So what about you? Have you ever sold things that you've made by hand? And if so, how did you feel about it? Was it enjoyable? Was it stressful? Did you feel that you were fairly compensated for your time, or did you lowball yourself? And if you really do want to learn how to knit, I would love to teach you. If we can't meet in person, I do also have an online course, and you can find the information about that at my website, beccajnorman.com/courses. You can learn all about it.